Have you ever wondered where you're going to get started on your hobby business? And that's what I'm going to talk about. I've been starting a hobby business of my own, and one of the hardest things that I found is the jumping off point. How do you create a jumping off point? And I've got a few suggestions for you because I've been going through this process myself. Well, first of all, you want to define some goals, a vision, and they don't have to be rock solid, hard vision and goals because it's going to be sort of a dynamic, ever changing hobby business that you have. You want to be agile. You want to be adaptable. You want to be able to sustain yourself. Nothing is going to start and just continue forever with no change. It just doesn't happen that way. All businesses have to change over time. So I do encourage you to define your own unique value. That's important, and that shouldn't change. What do you bring to the table that is unique or different, or is something that you do exceptionally well or are willing to learn to do exceptionally well? Then you want to test your market. You want to see who is going to be interested in your unique value. If there's no interest in the value that you bring to the market, is it really going to be a business as much as a hobby? A hobby business is both. It is a business that comes from your hobby, but it has to have the business factors as well as the hobby factor. It can't be just one or the other if it's going to be a hobby business. So you do want to test your market and push the boundaries to see where they are in that hobby and in that area that you're thinking about having a business in. So creating a simple business plan is generally a good idea to keep you on target, to help identify the direction and the path that you're going. Yes, you could keep it in your head, but then on the other hand, how can you refine it if there's nothing to refine and continually change and adapt? So you have to have a starting point of some kind, but it doesn't have to be a 50-page document. It can be a one-page document, a very simple business plan, a plan how you're going to operate this hobby business. So you want to establish your brand, and I have to tell you, the brand, I don't think that establishing a brand is the same thing as creating a logo or anything like that. I think the brand has more to do with your unique way of presenting your hobby business. It's going to be the uniqueness that you bring into the market, what you bring, what identifies you differently than anybody else. And that can be hard in a hobby. That can be hard in business. That can be hard with so much competition out there for people's money and time. So that's worth a little effort and energy to think about. But then on the other hand, you may not be able to come up with those answers to establishing your brand until you jump right in. So jumping in is going to be a challenge when you don't have all the answers yet, but you can do it. So you want to kind of set up your basic operation and be willing to make changes where necessary. After all, if you set yourself up as a cash-only business, then maybe you want to, at some point, be able to take credit cards. or vice versa. If you take credit cards, maybe somebody at some point would want to pay you in cash or in alternative means, maybe Bitcoin or some other kind of cryptocurrency. The thing that I've found helpful is establishing a network and continuing to learn. To be honest with you, I would not be able to put my finger on my hobby business if I had not started with that network and connecting with people and learning from them and continuing to learn from them. That's how we get better. That's how we grow. And whether it's in your hobby or in your business, networking and continuing to grow and moving forward is a great way to work your business and have some help when you need it. Because remember, this is a small business and you need that help and support. Of course, you've got to be flexible and persistent. You can't just rely on one thing. You've got to be flexible if you need to make changes. And persistent. By that I mean keep going. Remember, it might be a lot easier in retirement when we have a hobby business that we're operating to be persistent, because it is a hobby. It's something that we enjoy doing. We're going to continue doing it, whether the business part comes into play very quickly or if it's taking its sweet time to take off. Just be persistent. Continue going down the path of your hobby, and that persistence and flexibility is going to help you design the perfect hobby business for your particular situation. This is something that will be unique and ever changing and ever growing. So coming up with that jumping off point for me has been a challenge, because I've had to put a lot more thought into this than I originally thought. As a matter of fact, putting the thought into the hobby business is going to help design that business plan, design agility in, design flexibility in, is going to help you come up with your unique brand. So finding that jumping off point shouldn't be necessarily hard, but it may not be as easy as you think when you first come up with the idea. I know for me, the jumping off point was a lot more challenging than I originally thought. I've been working on my hobby business concept in my mind and going through this process for several weeks to more than a couple of months now. And that jumping off point is just now starting to materialize in my mind how and where and when I want to make this hobby business launch. So don't feel like you're alone. Just because you have a hobby doesn't mean that you can automatically say, hey, I'm a business, and do that the next day. It may take a little time to get everything in your mind's eye set up. It might take a little bit of time for you to iron out the wrinkles that you see in taking your hobby from a hobby, something that you strictly enjoy doing, to a hobby business, something that you enjoy doing and make a supplemental retirement income from, which is the goal in this channel. It is to develop a hobby business that will supplement your retirement income. It's been a challenge to do this, but you can do it. You can do it. I can do it. We can take a hobby and turn it into a supplemental retirement income. I encourage you to give it a try. I do have a free PDF for you. Turn a small savings into a joyful and worthwhile retirement. You'll see the link down in the description below. Just grab your free PDF and enjoy. Thanks so much. Have a great day.